with our State Geographic Information Officer, Richard Wade.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Happy day after tax day. I don't know. I came into the office yesterday in a really grumpy mood, and I said I apologize up front, but I just paid my taxes, and I am not happy. Didn't realize they'd go up so much, but good to see everybody here, and thank y'all for coming in person, and folks that are online, thank you very much for joining us for the second annual, the second quarter Texas GIS Community Meeting. My name is Richard Wade. I'm the state GIO, also Deputy Executive Administrator here at the Water Development Board over at the Texas GIO office. If you haven't been here before, especially those who are online, first of all, in the room, who has not been to one of these before? Oh, we got a few. Okay. So this is basically just that opportunity, as Gayla said. This is kind of pretty casual, pretty open. We want to tell you what we're up to, and we want to hear what you're up to. So that's the only way we're able to understand if what we're providing is suiting your needs, or if you got other things we should be looking into. This is how we find out. So don't be afraid to raise your hand and let us get you the microphone and talk. And those of you who are on the call, raise your hand there, and then right after whatever session that we're working on, we can do that Q&A. I like to, instead of reading the questions back, I would pretty much like to just take you off mute and have you ask your question. I think that's just a better way to do it, because there may be follow-up and so forth. So again, thank you for being here, and we'll go ahead and move past. How are y'all liking this facility? This is our second one here. Are you guys enjoying this? Okay, they have really amazing equipment. I think the facilities are amazing. And for the foreseeable future, this will be our location, just FYI. So this is our agenda for today. I'll provide a couple of GIO updates, and then Texas GIS forum updates, which I think you're going to be interested in. Texas GIS StratMap program updates, which I know you'll be interested in. And then Jeremy Rogers from TxDOT is going to give us his presentation, that something I've been wanting to hear for quite a while, so stay tuned for that. And then open discussion is where we will have that open dialogue. And this is where you can have your opportunity to give us your opinions and questions and whatever else you may have. And then the closing remarks, and I can say okay here, right? So I'm going to repeat it. Okay. We'll have closing remarks, and then we're going to go to Schultz's for a little happy hour afterwards. So hope you can join us for that. Any questions before we get started? Anybody? All right. Get straight to it here. All right. So I wanted to give you just a little update on what's happening at the federal level. You can probably guess just the fact that I said federal level probably means that things aren't happening. And that is pretty much the case, though. NISGIC's been really busy, National States Geographic Information Council. My presidency ends in 5 months, and I'm counting it down. So I've gone 2 years and 7 months, and 5 more months to go. But it has been amazing. It's been rewarding, and I've been working with the current president, Ken Nelson from Kansas, is the current president, and I advise him. But we are working really heavily on the NSDI national. Basically, it's the infrastructure for geospatial data at the national level. And so we continue really to push for that and try to understand what that's going to yield. We were planning on the feds to have a lot to say about this. They normally do, and they did up until recently, when pretty much it seems to be everybody fleeing the feds. I just found out this morning that one of our key folks there has also left, and he was our person who was driving kind of everything from that side. So we're a little, we're kind of a little disjointed at this point, but we're going to continue to write up our policies and write up our plans for that national spatial data infrastructure, because it's just important, something we need to do. On the NGC side, I have 8 months left on that board. I serve as vice chair. And that is a 501c3 collaborative. This is our opportunity for us to go after grants and funding that NISGIC is not able to do because they're a 501c6. I think I brought that up at one of our previous conferences. or meetings. And so we are putting that in place. We got some initiatives that we're currently planning and moving forward on. So, you know, we're going to, like I say, we're going to continue to do this as if everything's good at the federal level, and then we'll deal with it when it's not. We'll figure out, you know, kind of what we need to do. So the curveball got thrown at us, but it's not going to slow us down. The next thing I wanted to talk about is our school safety initiative. I've been a little bit quiet on this one because we've been, you know, heads down, been doing a lot of meetings and doing a lot of planning on what this means. I put a couple of these, you know, the more I research, the more I start to find these articles that pop up. But there is a lot of talk at not just in Texas, but a lot of talk at the other states about school safety initiative. And again, our plan that I'm hoping we can get some traction on is have the students at the high schools do the mapping and not get contractors in that would charge too much to do so. And so we continue to meet on this. We've had meetings with DPS just recently, and we got a couple more scheduled, and hopefully I am thinking that after maybe the first week of May, we're going to be starting on the actual development of the report. I've been working with Imagery on some of the conversations about that infrastructure and what that could look like. So our hope is that we can get some people to understand how valuable these kids are. And one thing I kind of wanted to bring up when I was talking to a few folks out there, they're like, yeah, can high school kids really pull this off? Can they really do the mapping and fly drones or whatever? And the more I researched it, the more I was like, it's ridiculous to think they can't. You know, these kids are doing amazing things in robotics. They have robotics championships. I mean, they're just looking for something to apply to. It's been amazing to watch them in the automotive fields, in the drone fields. You know, here's a you know, a couple of students, you know, working on engines, taking them apart, putting them back together, and another one that built an electric car. So we can't act like the kids in high school can't do things. They absolutely can. In fact, I think they would jump after an opportunity to learn to fly drones, learn to do indoor mapping, learn to use, you know, mobile LiDAR, whatever, you know, whatever else this looks like it's going to be. I think this is just a no-brainer. And so luckily the people I've been talking to feel the same way. And I think that's what continues to drive us. So stay tuned stay tuned. We're going to have more. We still have some more conversations to have, but we're getting close to developing that report, and looking forward to sharing that with everybody. Let's see if I have anything else. Yeah. The last thing I wanted to bring up is that we have started this month, we actively started working on our GIO report. We're still, you know, about 20 months away from needing to have it turned in, but it's going to take all that 20 months to develop it and meet with the right people. So we've got kind of an outline going right now. We know what topics that I think we're going to add to the last two reports. And we're just going to continue to do that. So I've said it before here, we will be talking to a lot of these agencies. If you are not clear if we're going to be talking to you, reach out to me. If you got something you need to tell me that you think we ought to be looking into you could be at a smaller agency or whatever, please call me. Let me know what you're thinking, and I'll let you know what we're planning for it. And if we're not planning for it, maybe we should. So just keep that in mind. This isn't a one-way street, us to you. This is what, again, we need to hear from you so we can put the right items in this report. It does get read by the governor, lieutenant governor, and speaker of the House. You know, I think it's very critical to explain what it is we need to move forward as a state. So with that, before I turn it over, does anybody have any questions for me? Whether it be online or... That's not good.
Check online.
Talk fast. Yeah.
Okay.
I've had to do
Do we?
Just sit okay.
You sit okay?
Yeah.
All right. I can still talk a lot.
6 minutes.
Hey.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Say hi.
Haven't seen you. Yeah, good to see you.
Do I need the mic or?
Oh yeah, we need a mic. Microphone. Send it back.
What? Easy.
No singing.
Nothing? Okay. The report on the mapping of the school.
Yes.
Does that then go to the legislature for review and approval?
Yeah.
We mentioned at one time the TEA.
Yeah.
Needs to approve.
Any TEA folks on, I'm looking to send this report to you. The thought here is we're a little bit out of our lane when it comes to this. What we're trying to do is just give a set of examples that maybe that TEA can look at that could involve setting up a curriculum in the high school. So my hope is that the report would be something we can actually go and sit down with TEA and just say, look, we've kind of done some research. We think this is a really good idea, but it's yours to take and see if it's something you might want to be interested in doing. I'm not putting words in anybody's mouth. It's kind of that. It's not going to be me taking it to the ledge because I am not. That's not what I'm supposed to do. So, to answer your question.
Yeah. So no knowledge on the timing of it.
No, if I had to guess, it would be if it were to be picked up sometime this year and TEA liked it, it would probably go to the next ledge session. Is kind of what I'm thinking. That doesn't mean we couldn't probably do some testing in advance of that, which I think would be a really good thing to do. So, yeah, any other questions? This hasn't rebooted, so I think we can continue, right? 6 minutes so far. It did say 6 minutes, right? So with that, if I can advance it, I'm going to turn it over to Gwen to talk about our GIS form.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here today. My name is Gwen Cruzy. I'm the marketing specialist here at GIO, and I also help put on events like this and our forum. So I'm really excited, if you're not familiar with our forum, to share some new details. It will be taking place from November 3rd to 7th this year at the Commons Conference Center here in Austin. That's where it's typically held, so we're going to be returning there this year. Registration is now open. You can visit our website, geographic.texas.gov, and go and purchase your registration now. If you do so before mid-September, you will get the best price of the year. And we're also accepting calls for presentations and map gallery submissions. That will be closing at the end of this month. So I highly encourage everyone. I know you guys, so many people here have so many unique perspectives and work that you all do. We'd love to highlight it, give you guys a platform and share at our forum. So I definitely encourage everyone. We have a really friendly and welcoming audience. So please, if you are thinking about it, I encourage you to go through it. So great. Also, I said registration is open now. That also extends to our workshops. So on the first 2 days of the conference, we have pre-conference workshops. That's what's listed here. So if anything looks interesting, I do recommend that y'all sign up for them early. They tend to sell out. Additionally, non-forum news, we have some community job openings to share about. There is a senior GIS programmer positioning that's opened at Resource Data. And we also have a Systems Administrator 5 here at the Texas Water Development Board. That would be within GIO. So don't panic about writing down these super long links. I will share these in a recap email. Okay, also speaking of emails, if you guys would like to use these QR codes to be someone that we can interview for some projects that we have going on, that would be for our GIO website and our data hub. Those are two programs we're projects that we're looking at doing new updates. We'd love to get your feedback and have input from you guys as we go about this project. So you would like to scan the QR codes. Additionally, one more QR code for you. It's our mailing list. We'd love to stay connected with you guys. So you can find us on X and on YouTube at Geographic Texas, or join our mailing list and get invited to more exciting events in the future. So with that, we'll turn things over to Lauren in our StratMap program.
Everyone, good afternoon. My name is Lauren Kirk. I'm the Imagery Program Specialist at GIO with a couple of updates for you guys. So coming very soon, very, very soon, is the Texas Imagery Service latest statewide 2024 collection. And that was flown in conjunction with the NAPE 2024 acquisition for Texas. And the NAPE 24 CCMs are currently available for free on our data hub. We are still awaiting the DO4Q tile delivery, so hopefully that'll be in the next month or so. The statewide 24 Texas Imagery Service collection joins the 2 other current collections that you see here, plus an additional 20 that we have. That you're seeing there is the statewide was flown during leaf on conditions, and the urban area 24 was flown during leaf off conditions. So more to come on that. There will be an announcement when those layers arrive at Texas GIO. And many of you have probably also heard me talk about the Texas Imagery Service. So I highly encourage you guys to check it out if you haven't yet, but it is a statewide imagery program that provides 6-inch resolution natural color imagery for the entire state. We fly updates about every other year. And if you want to learn more, this is a link to the Texas Imagery Service project page where you can also request 2-week trial links to take it for a spin and see if it works for your needs. And then lastly, for the imagery side, I do also want to highlight TexGIO's own orthoimagery program. This is that project page also on our main website. But on our data hub, we have over 90 unique orthoimagery collections, not including our historic imagery collections available for free access. Many of those also have web services that you can load into your geospatial software of choice. So definitely check that out if you have not already. It's a really great free resource. And then lastly, from my side, you've also heard me talk at length over the last year about our land cover initiative that is happening. We have selected a vendor, which is very exciting, and we hope to kick off that project probably in May. And so that will be the first of its kind statewide 1-meter resolution land cover for Texas, which will have 22 unique land cover classifications. And that will be derived from the latest and greatest imagery for our Texas Imagery Service. And once we get that data, that will also be freely available for access through our TexGIO data hub. So stay tuned for more information. Hopefully at our next community meeting in the summer, I'll have even more, maybe some status maps for you guys. But that wraps up my updates. Unless anyone has any other questions, I'll pass it over to Ellen to give her LiDAR update. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you.
Everybody, I'm Ellen. I'm the LiDAR program specialist, and I just have a couple of quick updates for you guys. Oh,
Another time.
okay. So the current LiDAR project we have going on, we've completed phase 2, which is the acquisition phase, and we have moved on to phase 3. So we were able to collect all 22,000 square miles of LiDAR in this area. Yeah. So that's great. Things are trucking along there. We are starting to plan for next winter's LiDAR collection. The area of interest is still under development. So any region you see in orange or yellow or red is expired according to the USGS refresh cycle. So we're still establishing where we want to collect LiDAR. So if you're interested in partnering with us, please reach out to me and we can get you looped into those emails. Other LiDAR acquisitions happening, there's the 2022 USGS Lower Rio Grande LiDAR collection. I am still creating HIPSO for that collection, but the LiDAR and DEMs are available on the LiDAR Explorer page of the USGS site, so you can get those there. Hopefully in the next few weeks, I will have that completed and up on the data hub for y'all. There was an error in our last community meeting slide regarding the 2024 HGAC LiDAR. That is not available this spring. That will become available next spring. So sorry for that miscommunication. And then finally, the 2025 USGS Texas LiDAR acquisition is still underway. I assume that they have finished their acquisition and are moving on to data processing as well. So yeah, that is all for me. Does anybody have any questions for me? No? Okay. I'm going to hand it off to Clayton, our bathymetry specialist.
Hey everybody, I'm Clayton Rainier, the bathymetry program specialist at TexGIO. I just have a couple quick updates. We will be moving forward with the Matagorda and Trinity Bay bathymetry acquisition that will hopefully start next month. And then that data should be available late August to early November. We also have some additional funding that we're looking to kick off another bathymetry project for. I don't have a lot of information on that right now, but hopefully at the next meeting we will. And then this is also just a table showing our priority areas that were established during a workshop back in early 2022, I think. So yeah, that's all that I have. Are there any questions about that? Okay, and I'm going to pass it off to Sean. Sean is our new geographic data coordinator for TextGeo.
Good afternoon, everyone. Like Clayton just mentioned, I'm the newly hired geographic data coordinator. My name is Sean Salisbury, and I've been stuck updates. Like I said, we are underway with our collection and processing as of this moment. And again, for the land parcels program, we're partnering with BIS again this year to deliver processed land parcels to TextGIO to QA and publish. And we're anticipating, again, statewide coverage with the exception of Donley County once again. And that will be hopefully available July, August timeframe. And again, just like last year, we're looking to increase our address point coverage within all of our counties. So emphasizing again that just for the land parcels program, partnering with BIS consultants this year once more. And at the moment, we're currently have 146 of the 254 counties in-house to do QA/QC on. And we're looking to have our second and final BIS delivery on 6/1, June 1st. And then for address points, we have 220 of the 254 counties in-house being processed. And yeah, like I had mentioned, anticipated to be published and available July, August timeframe. So does anyone have questions for me or online?
I have a question.
Yeah. What's up?
So I've noticed for Travis County, a lot of the attribute data for the parcels is blank.
Okay.
And I was wondering, is that intentional? Are they not providing that data, or what's their partnership look like through all of this?
Yeah, I did. So when we get the land parcel data, it comes from the county appraisal districts, and whatever data they provide us is what we provide everybody else. And so if it's left blank, it's intentional on their end, not our end. I don't know, it's always, from my understanding, been difficult to work with Travis County for the
Mine
land
too.
parcel data. Yeah, and so, yeah, it's typically pretty bare bones when it comes to that data.
Awesome, thank you.
Question. Yes. On that, whenever whenever a new release of the parcel data comes out, and let's say there's not an update for that county, let's say 2025 comes out and you don't have Webb County, there's not an update. Do you guys include the 2024 data for that county? So it's a complete data set for the new release, or do you just omit that county?
My understanding is we receive data from each county each year, regardless of whether it's new, right?
Yeah,
Like-
there's not like a cumulative data set where we fill in the gaps from previous year's data.
Okay. I
It's
just noticed
always,
holes in some of the counties on different years, you know, where some counties where there's not any coverage. So yeah. So
Yeah,
thank you.
I mean, that's part of our goal is to increase coverage in each county.
Right.
And there was another question back there. Yes.
Yeah, back on the Travis County parcels, have you had any luck working with the appraisal roll, or have you looked into the appraisal roll?
no, we work with BIS now, so
Yeah.
they submit like the PIR for that information. I think a few years ago, we've tried doing that, but it's like a really complicated process to join.
Yeah, I wasn't
that
sure if the
data.
process changed or.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure.
Okay.
So we are reaching out to the appraisal districts,
Mhm.
so for that. So So we're in with those, and so does our contractor.
Anyone else? I believe Maria is up next. Yeah.
Good afternoon, folks. Can y'all hear me pretty well? Okay, just making sure. I do just want to briefly mention that our georeferencing is still ongoing. These missions will become available for download on our TextGIO data hub. Do have a few that we wanted to just mention real briefly. TxDOT 1975-271582, covering Galveston, Harris, and Liberty. TxDOT 1994-930190, covering the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex area. And finally, TxDOT 2000-200105, that covers mostly Central Texas and some of the outer counties in that area. There are plenty more available now and more to come. Does anyone have any questions about the georeferencing project? Here's our contact info. Please reach out to any of us if you have any questions or need any help. Back to Gayla.
Thank you, StratMap team. I have one update from the manager, Joey Thomas, who could be here today. He and Aaron Pierce from our office are at the SCOG conference up in the Frisco, Texas area. So if you don't know what SCOG is, that stands for the South Central Art User Group. It's a long-standing meeting that has been going on in that area, and so TextGIO has an exhibit up there, and then SCOG folks have an exhibit at our Texas GIS Forum in fall. So my update on Joey's behalf has to do with the StratMap contracts. So if you're from a government agency in Texas, you may be a user of these contracts. They are for all things GIS software services and data products related. So essentially, if you're purchasing items, you're from a government agency and you're purchasing items in GIS, you're very likely using StratMap contracts. They're also called the DIR GIS contracts. They exist at DIR, which is our state Department of Information Resources. It's our state IT agency. And so we have this pool of over 20 commercial companies that are on contract already with the state. And that pool of vendors comes up for renewal. So we're at a point right now where we are renewing that pool of vendors. I don't want to start. Okay. About every 5 years. And we do this on DIR's schedule. In the past, it has been one time we had them for 6 years, one time for 4 years. This last time was 5. So generally, we're about every 5 years where we refresh the pool. So if you are here from or are online from a GIS company that provides software services and products, and you're not already a part of our StratMap contracts and you want to do business with government entities in Texas, this is a heads up to you all that the RFO, which means request for offer, is coming out soon for you to submit your proposal to. So a request for information was released several months ago, and then a pre-solicitation notice came out as well. These are all from our state comptrollers, ESBD, I know it's alphabet soup, ESBD, Electronic State Business Database, I think so. I can't remember if anyone's here from the comptroller, but it's the place where all bids are put for doing business in Texas, especially if it's not an IT good. So our RFO to refresh the whole pool has been delayed just slightly. DIR thought that they would be able to get this out on March 19th, but they delayed that to late April of this month. So Pretty much in the next couple of weeks, that's going to be out and available for about a month or so. There will be a Q&A session, a vendor interest conference for those that are interested in learning more about what is entailed in the RFO and how to submit your bid. And then TextGIO folks, we jointly evaluate with DIR. So we are involved from the TextGIO office in pre-qualifying the new pool. So we're really excited about this from all fronts, from our commercial data providers and from our government users. We definitely believe in the public-private relationships. Those have been very helpful for our projects in order to provide services in geography for the state of Texas. And you should all know that they're not only for us at TextGIO, they're for everybody, right? So just for as an example, Esri is one of the current contract holders. And so behoove you to do your business through these contracts. Does anyone have any questions about these? Yes.
I think it's published in the Electronic State Business Daily, like an
Daily. Thank you, Miguel. Yeah, Electronic State Business Daily, the SPD from the Comptroller's Office. And if you are working with a vendor that is not already part of the current pool, but you would like them to be in the future, just shoot me or Joey an email and we'll make sure. Any questions? Okay, and we will move on. It's not moving on. Yep. To our featured presentation. Of course, we have been talking with TxDOT for many years now about the project that they have been putting together for mobile mapping of the state highway system, the TxDOT highway system. And it's been really exciting to listen to the progress as y'all have come along. And I know you've made even more progress with a lot of data collection that your contractor has already started doing. And so Jeremy Rogers is here from TxDOT to tell us about that project. And I will give you a background on Jeremy. So he's the roadway inventory branch manager in the data management section of TxDOT's Transportation Planning and Programming Division, TPP. Jeremy plays a role in the management of Texas' extensive roadway inventory database. Over the last 12 years, Jeremy has grown in TxDOT's data management section, where his work involves the organization, analysis, and utilization of vast data sets that underpin Texas transportation systems. His focus is to implement new technologies and data-driven strategies to improve the state's roadway network data. So as a user of this Texas roadway network, I appreciate your service to the state and welcome you here to give a presentation at our second quarter GIS community meeting. Please help me welcome Jeremy Rogers.
Thank you. Well, thanks for having me. My name is Jeremy Rogers. I work with Chris Bardash. He and I are both branch managers for same section in data management. So we both work in a database that manages all of the roadway information. His side of the house kind of focuses on the spatial side of things, the actual underlying roadways that represent the network. Thanks. And my side of the fence, we focus on all of that attribution about the roadways. So all of those things you can kind of quantify, categorize, number of lanes, roadbed width, things like that, pavement type. All those things are stored in our inventory. And it's a lot to try and keep up with just for my team and for people out of the district. So we're like, how can we be better about it? How can we get more accurate data? Well, this is kind of what we came up with. And this has been something that's been in the works for 5 years. Chris and I first, talked to these individuals over 5 years ago at a conference, learned what they could do, and just started the conversation. And it's taken this long to actually get it going. So what we're actually having collected is street level LiDAR and high resolution 360-degree imagery. There's a lot of vendors out there that can do this type of work, but there was one vendor in particular that just had a product that was pretty impressive. The name of the company called Cyclomedia. So that's who we ended up contracting with. And we're having them drive all of the roadways that are on the state highway system. So we refer to those as on systems. So that's anything you can think of that's like an interstate all the way down to maybe an FM. And then we have another bucket of roads that we call off system. And those are things like county roads and city streets. And we can't do all of that. That's over 324,000 centerline miles, right? So we had to limit it and said, okay, well, let's focus on those that carry a lot of traffic, that facilitate traffic to get to certain things. And they have what's called a federal functional classification. So anything that has a functional classification above local like a default, we'll focus on those. So what it came out to be is about 100,000 centerline miles, and it equated to be about 150,000 drive miles. And the reason for that difference is because you think about the Katy Freeway where you have 12 lanes on either side, you've got to make multiple passes to make sure you're getting proper coverage. So after they calculated all of that, it's about 150,000 drive miles. So we're going to use this data, kind of like I was talking about, right, to update all of the data that we have in our database. So the data is going to be given to us in a few different ways. The imagery and the LiDAR that's being collected is going to be put into a web-based application. It's a street view application. It's very similar to like a Google Street View. You can kind of navigate around. I'll actually show you all that here in just a bit. And then they're going to send us some roadway attributes that are extracted out of that LiDAR point cloud. They have the ability to identify different things in view, pull them out, adhere them to the schema that we need so that we can load them into our database. And then lastly, they're going to actually give us the raw LAZ files as well as those imagery files. It's going to be about 450 to 500 terabytes of data. So one of the challenges right now is where are we going to put it? How much is it going to cost, right? So I think what we've decided for right now temporarily is either Azure or AWS, just like some glacial storage. And it'll be one of those things where you put it in, right? You spin up a port whenever you need it, connect, and then they take the port down, and it's the way to save money until we can find a better way to keep it more accessible. But that's what we're up against right now, and the clock's ticking because the vendor's like, we can only hold on to this for so long. It's costing us money too. So StreetSmart is the name of the application that they're giving us access to view all of that collected imagery and LiDAR. It's something that was really important that we made sure that everybody in the agency had access to. Not everybody needs it, but we're like, why not proselytize it? Why not have everybody have access to it? So we worked with IT to actually integrate it with single sign-on. So there's not a need to put in a request to access the application. You can just go to the URL. If you have a text.email address, you put that in as your username, and it automatically authenticates just like all of the other things that we have to connect to. I will say that IT is currently working with an external single sign-on for people that don't have an actual text.email address. So partners in this room, it's very possible that in the future, we might be able to grant permissions for people outside of TxDOT to have access to this application. So this is one of the perks of StreetSmart, right? It's one thing to kind of look around and look at all the imagery, but it allows you to take measurements. And the reason for that is you can see the imagery, but then behind that imagery, you actually have the LiDAR stack. So it's that LiDAR point cloud that you're interacting with. So you can drop a point, you can take a measurement. They guarantee 10 centimeter spatial accuracy, so that the actual position of what you're talking about, is that in the right place? But once you get beyond that, the actual measurement accuracy is 2 centimeters. It's not true survey grade. There are no control points. This is very much planning grade, but 2 centimeters is totally fine with us, right? But the way this works, you drop a point on an object in view, go to another point, and comes back, gives you a measurement. You can do width, height. This is a little light pole here. You can drop a point at the base, go all the way up to the top of that mast. And this is a simplified LiDAR point cloud. So if you turn off that imagery, this is actually what you see behind that image. You can do bridge vertical clearance or any other kind of vertical clearance. The way it works is you drop a point on the object overhead, you come down until you get plumb, drop a point, gives you a measurement. And this is just a little side by side to show you, what it actually is interacting with. So, it's nice to be able to have the viewer. It's nice to be able to navigate around and take some quick measurements. But the main focus for us was being able to have those things that we care about for our inventory, safety related items or other items that we have to report to Federal Highway Administration, be extracted out so that we can have a really good fresh data set inside of our database. And those things that we're going to have extracted are this list right here. So number of through lanes. And for us, that's, anything that's not a turn lane, right? So if you continue with traffic, that's called a through lane. We wanted to know what the lane width was. We wanted to identify turn lanes. And with turn lanes, we're not only getting where they are, but we're getting the count of them and their width. So we're getting left, continuous left, and right. They're going to capture speed limits for us. We're getting shoulder width and shoulder type. And for us, shoulder type is things like, are you concrete? Are you bituminous? Like, what is your actual composition made of? Roadbed width, which is a true edge of pavement to edge of pavement measurement, and median type and median width. So are you a concrete barrier, a protected grass median, and what is your width? And then we had some requests from some other groups saying, well, we need to know where illumination is. So are you kind of like your typical high mast, or are you under a bridge? So we're capturing types of illumination and their height. We're capturing where bike lanes are present. We're only capturing bike lanes if they're on the actual paved roadway. We're not doing any kind of shared use path. If it's off of the actual roadway, that won't be captured. Well, captured is not the right way. We're not having it extracted. They are capturing everything, right? They're creating a three-dimensional environment. They can extract whatever we tell them to, but we're only having them focus on what's on the pavement. And then they're capturing bridges. So bridges, culverts, they're really focusing on bridges. Anything that's 20 foot or greater is considered a bridge. So they're extracting all of those and they're pulling that NBI number, which is a National Bridge Identification Number. And then lastly, signs. And that's asterisk because it was something that we added late to the project. Somebody reached out and was like, hey, we don't actually have a sign inventory. We don't know where our signs are in the state. And there's, as you can imagine, hundreds of thousands of them throughout the state. So we're like, okay, let's see what we can do. They said they could do it, but there's two different sets of signs. So there's a national MUTCD code manual, and there's all kinds of stats that go along with that. So there's a code, there's typical dimensions that go along with that sign, and they're going to be able to do that for us. But anything that is state specific, they said, well, we can't do that because we don't have enough time to train our machines to identify those things. We were able to give them maybe like 10 of our signs. They're going to get those. But yeah, so they're going to extract that out. And it'll be delivered to us to put into our database as well. I will say that I don't think it belongs in our database, but we're going to put it there to see or be there for anybody who wants it. So the way it's going to work is we work obviously with linear referencing systems. I'm just curious. I know it's all GIS people. Do y'all work with linear referencing systems? Are you familiar with the linear referencing system for the most part? Okay, cool. So, with our line work, it's M-enabled. We've got measures that are embedded along with it. And at any point along that route, you can pull out a measure. So that's essentially how they're going to locate that information to our system. So we gave them a network, a static network. We said, okay, we'll hold our network static until we get those deliverables back. So we'll be able to mesh everything together. But as they identify those features in space, what's the closest roadway? What's the closest measure? They're putting it into a table for us. It's literally just route from and to measure, and then what's the value of the actual asset? And we just push it into our database. Which is pretty much what I just talked about. But we do have other people in the agency that don't necessarily want the information in that format. So we're just like, well, okay, if you want signs and you want them in a different format, we're happy to give it to you just in a flat file. If you want to know where the signs are, we'll give it to you in an Excel sheet if that's what it takes. We have no idea how people are going to want to use all this data. We know how we want to use it, but we're pretty flexible, and the vendor seemingly is really flexible on how we can make those deliverables. So kind of going back to how we work, this is a screenshot of GRID. It stands for Geospatial Roadway Inventory Database. That's the database that Chris and my team work in. That's actually the Texas Imagery service there in the background. But the way it works for us is we have to create a single job on one route at a time, and then you go into it and you pick a tab, and each tab is an actual asset. So this one is number of through lanes. And the way somebody would do this is they would zoom in, they would use the imagery, and they would go, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. It looks like 3 lanes or 4 lanes, and from where to where. And they can drop a point, it derives that measure, updates the table, they can save it, they can commit it. So it's very tedious. I've got a team of about 10 people, but then throughout the 25 TxDOT districts throughout the state, there might be 1 person, there might be 2 people that can update the data inside of the database. But the issue is they're not hired to do that job. They have other things they have to do. They got tapped to be the person who works in grid, but they can't always get to it. We have some people that are amazing. We have some data in parts of the state that are fantastic, and then we have data that hasn't been updated in forever. And we don't have any control over it. So this effort is one of the ways to get around that, to get us to be a really good baseline of data for all of these things we care about. Also, our data touches all of these different systems, and I know this doesn't mean much to y'all, but all of these different databases that are inside of TxDOT, our data is touching. The one on the far right is the one that we're most closely related to, that has the little yellow highlight around it. HPMS, which is Highway Performance Monitoring System. It's a federal highway administration program that we are bound by law to give data to every single year. Actually, we just had our first deadline yesterday. We had to submit interstate data as well as pavement data, and then we have to give everything else to them by June 15th. So all of that data that we keep inside of Grid, we're packaging up and we're giving it to them every single year. We create some annual reports that kind of summarize the mileage and summarize some of the other stats. We create a roadway inventory file, which we call RIF, and then we have some data tables, and all that gets pushed out to our .gov site. And this is what it looks like. And that's how you get to it. Shameless plug. So,
You go back one?
yeah, of course. Can I go back? There we go.
Thank you.
2024 is not there yet. We'll have that loaded probably in June. We haven't received traffic data yet. We won't get that until May. So once we get that in, we'll load it up. So this is a timetable that was given to us from the vendor. The top bar, the task 1, was just kind of like getting the project kicked off. We actually got this kicked off in January. They started collecting in January. They said they were going to get the entire state collected for us by the end of May. So they're being extremely aggressive. They have a fleet of like 60 vehicles. They gave us 24 and they just hit the road and they took off. It takes about 3 to 4 weeks after they've collected an area for them to process it and then actually load it to that StreetSmart application that we were looking at. But they're doing a really good job. And then right now, the very bottom block, that task 4 block, is the deliverables. So they actually gave us a phase 0 deliverable where we're going through and we're testing all of that data that they say they're going to extract for us. Does it look spatially correct? We found some issues with it. It's more or less defining the scope or retweaking our scope and expectations, but they're doing a fantastic job. So when it comes to future collection and what our current contract is, the contract is 2 years. We have the ability to do a 1-year renewal. And then after that, it's like, well, what do we want to do? Do we really think we need to do a full statewide collection every time we have them go out? Probably not, because not every single road is changing every single year. So maybe we do an ad hoc collection. Maybe we just say, okay, this road was open. This one was finally constructed. This one was redone. Why don't you go out, just collect that, extract that information for us, and it kind of keeps the cost down, and we can just kind of pepper in and fill in the gaps as we go along. So this is the fun stuff. Let me get out of this real quick. So this is a dashboard that they provide us. Back in. This just shows their collection effort. So the green represents everything that's been collected and actually loaded to that StreetSmart application. The yellow represents what they've collected, but is still being processed. The blue shows where they actually are driving. You can see as of Tuesday, there's 18 vehicles capturing for us. And then gray is where they intend to go next. For whatever reason, Fort Worth, Dallas, and Waco district was last to be captured, but they're finally getting into the Dallas district coming up next. But they're getting really, really close. You can see 73% of the state has been captured, 37% of it's been published to that Street Smart application. They're jamming, they're moving right along. It's really impressive. So this is the Street Smart application. This is the little dashboard that pops up. You can see that they're doing collections for other states. We only have access to the data in Texas. But if they have done previous collections for other municipalities or other governments, we have access to all that data. So it's kind of nice. There's a time slider in there, so you can kind of go back in time and look and see what's been collected before. The dark green represents the most recent. The vintage is obviously determined by the color here, but dark green is most recent. The red is the oldest, but I can zoom in here. Just having a mouse, this is tricky. So as I zoom into an area, eventually turns to points. And each of these points is like a collection point. I click on one, it takes you down to Street View. And this little split screen here, and I can toggle off the imagery so you can kind of just see that simplified point cloud in the background. So the great thing about this, like I was talking about, it gives you the ability to take measurements. So they have these measurement tools here that you can click on, height, surface, right? You can take a little distance measurement. But this orthogonal tool is probably one that we use the most. And the reason you use this tool, let's say I want to measure the shoulder width, what it allows you to do is you click on a point, and then you're essentially drawing a straight line. Click there. And then once I've got my straight line established, I go across, drop a point. And it guarantees that I'm getting a perpendicular measurement. It takes any kind of like skew that you're going to get out of that image. And you can see it's 3.1 meters, right? So I need to change my default unit of measurement, but it'll give you feet, which is typically what we work with. But, you know, it's just a really nice tool. The great thing about their company is they also offer a lot of plugins. They offer a ArcGIS Pro plugin. They offer an Experience Builder plugin, so a widget. And then they have the JavaScript API, which we've already started using. So we've already built some web applications that we're just kind of making this standard. And each of those plugins, it just replicates this actual application here. So inside of Grid, if you want to pop it open and take a measurement of something, update the data, we've got it built in for us. Any other kind of web app that we're making, we're starting to make it standard. So we don't anticipate it going anywhere. We've at least got them for 3 years. We'd like to keep it going. But yeah, this is something that we've been really excited about. We're really excited to, okay, right, yeah. Really excited to see the quality of the data. I think we're most excited to see how far off we actually are with what we have. You know, were we right, were we way off? Hopefully we're pretty close. But yeah, it's just been really exciting, and we're getting really, really close. They are planning on offering some training for us. They're moving around. Actually, I think I have some more slides. Yeah, so this is some of the training. We already had one training at Stastny, which is our headquarters office here in town. And they've created a bunch of video series. So they have little YouTube videos that are just kind of focused on different aspects of the Street Smart application that we're able to throw out to everyone. We've done a virtual training. We actually had one yesterday. About 100 people in our GIS community at TxDOT joined, and they want to start traveling. They want to go out to at least 5 of the different districts throughout the state for in-person training. So they're a really cool company to work with. They're a really great group of people. They're excited to work with us, and so far things are going great. Any questions?
We do that.
You had the first question.
I just want to note the Were the cars manned or?
Yes.
Okay.
They are. And I think, I'm trying to think, they have, hard drive in them, and I can't remember what the mileage count is. I want to say it's something like after 100 miles, they've got to change out their hard drive. So they're going to have to plan where they're driving and make sure they're near like a FedEx place so they can put it in, ship it off, put up another one, and then continue their drive. So they're constantly just mailing those things back to headquarters to be processed and loaded to StreetSmart. Yeah.
Jeremy, hi, this is Tracy from Esri. How are you? As far as like collecting it again in a couple of years, will you keep the original data?
Yes.
The historical version?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they'll keep it in their application. Plus, we're having all that raw imagery and LiDAR delivered to us. So, we'll have it as well.
Yes, do you have any plans to map text dot right of way?
So, no. The way it works is because it is street level, they shoot about 250 feet. So anything that they can see, they can capture and derive, but there is no plan to capture a straight right of way. No.
Although our right of way, sorry.
There is an effort in our right-of-way division to actually, I think it's pretty close to being published. So I take a look at it on AGO. But we did like an internal crowdsource where we digitized informally, not with any survey equipment or any georeference survey information.
Is it Polygon?
Yes, so they're gonna publish a polygon right-of-way layer for the whole state, for all system anyways.
Is it a county road, state road, city road?
Just for state highways.
Okay,
Yeah.
very nice. That's been useful at the GLO.
I mean, useful for us.
So I had a quick question because this has to do with bridges and overpasses, which I know you probably know. You've probably got an earful from Dr. Mayment on getting those done and I guess functioning. And we've tried to do some things with LiDAR, and we've done some good stuff that Miguel had worked on. So my question really is maybe this is actually for you, Miguel, but is this something that being able to understand the height would actually help that database? And I'm assuming too, this is multi-cloverleaf. So like if you had multiple lanes that go over, you are collecting all of that information as well?
Lanes are collected and they're a separate asset.
Right.
And just to clarify with bridges, we're really just collecting presence and where it is.
Okay.
So we're not getting any other statistics about it. It's just presence as a linear feature.
Okay.
And making sure the MBI number is attached to it. Because that's all we care about. And the reason we care about it is because when we have pavement collection and we give that pavement score or that pavement coverage to HPMS, to the feds, if we have any missing gaps in that pavement collection, if we can say there's a bridge here, because we don't have to collect pavement for bridges, they don't count it against us.
I got you. Okay. So I'm trying to kind of coordinate that idea of identifying bridge width and height of the cloverleaf and all that kind of stuff. This is where this can help us, right, Miguel?
Absolutely. The problem that we had in the previous iteration when we tried that is when we have multiple overpasses.
Right.
Just one over the other one was not a problem, but when we have 3 or 4 or 5, the shadow of one was blocking the view of the other one. But if you're driving through them, there is no shadow.
Right.
You're collecting all of them, so that should help.
Yeah, the whole bridge thing, I mean, Miguel and I talked about this, it's a challenge for us. We have a bridge division, but they don't really have the same needs as we do, so they collect bridges just as a point. And we don't really have a direct need for reporting for linear bridge assets. But for the intersection inventory that we've recently been required to do, which will be due in 2026, we're working on now. We kind of need those bridges because we need to know when these two roads pass over each other, if there's an at-grade intersection there, a conflict point. So it's something that we are working on. And so my group is particularly excited. We were just talking the other day about the bridges. So we want to get we'll get those linear assets onto our roadways, but we don't necessarily know, where they're at. I mean, with that smart viewer, you could measure heights and all that kind of stuff.
You can just click on it and pull the Z out.
So, so we have that information, but ultimately we want to be able to apply that to the network to be able to say for sure what bridge is over top of another. And then therefore, by extension, is this an at-grade intersection or grade separation?
Follow-up questions. Is the LiDAR classified or it will be just XYZ?
I don't know. I'll find out. Because they're processing it for their application a certain way, and then they're going to deliver it to us in a different fashion, just like a raw LAZ. But I'll find out for you.
Would this application be available to somebody like Text GIO if we wanted to do kind of more advanced bridge and or deck analysis or something, and we wanted to do these measurements? Would that be something we could work with you on to get access to, or?
Well, I don't know what would be more advantageous, having the raw LiDAR or having access to this application. If you think access to the application, of course, you're going to be limited to what they drove.
Right.
Right. So if you're looking to maybe get underneath a bridge, but they didn't drive that road that goes underneath it, you're not going to have it.
Gotcha.
So I guess it just depends.
Okay.
But as far as getting access to the application, once we get that external single sign-on set up, that would be the opportunity.
Okay. Sounds good. Any other questions or any questions online? One, going twice.
Just curious, when is the date you might get that external sign-on?
I don't know. It's a good question. IT just keeps saying, it's coming, but
It's coming. Like,
I don't know.
We have a hand up. They unmute themselves? You have to unmute them.
So probably from IT saying,
Frank Martin can bring yourself off mute and ask your question.
Okay, there you go. Can you hear me?
yes.
Great. So I'm Frank Martin and I'm with Williamson County, and our Road and Bridge Department recently had Cyclomedia drive the county roads. And so we have access to Street Smart, and we can see the roads that have been driven by the state. We just don't have access to the road. So is there going to be a way for those people who already have access to Street Smart through the fact that they've had Cyclomedia, we have a contract with them, would have access to this data?
So you're saying that you can get into Cyclomedia, but you can't see the current collection effort?
I can see the collection effort. I just can't access the points. When you zoomed in and got the points on the road, we don't have access to that. So we see their collection efforts. And so the county roads that were driven are available to us. It just would be the state roads that they didn't drive for us. It would be nice to have those as well.
Yeah, thanks for sharing your data. We didn't. TechSouth got kind of stingy, I think. So that was a choice made above me.
Sure.
But
I hear you.
We can have a conversation about that. So we'll see what we can do.
That'd be great.
Because I think it's worth
Thanks.
sharing it for everybody else's too.
Absolutely. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. All right, well, let's give it a little. Been waiting to see that for quite a while, so it's been fascinating.
I've been talking it up for long.
Good.
Yeah, he has. Let's see here. Which one? Okay. Now, let me make sure I got this right. This is open discussion time. This is again where we like to now hear from you. We've told you what we're working on. Jeremy told you what he was working on. And so we would really. Oh, is this how they're seeing it? Okay. We'd like to hear from you guys. Folks in the room, feel free to raise your hand. We'll get you a microphone. And those who are on the call, just raise your hand and we will take care of you on that side of things. That's okay. So it's only discussion.
Yeah.
So anybody in the house want to tell us what y'all are up to? Jackie, how about you?
I made it happen when you're right. She has something to say.
You could give us a presentation.
I'm so glad I came prepared. Hi, I'm Jackie Hincher. I work for the city of Austin. I'm one of our GIS managers in the IT department there. And my group is the Geospatial Solutions and Engagement team. And we manage, whatever. It's a group of developers primarily who work on citywide integrations, data integrations, and citywide applications for primarily GIS or GIS data integration. Sorry, I was not ready. Two of my senior developers are retiring in May.
On the same day.
On the same day. So yeah, it's adorable. It's also challenging. It's going to be challenging. But that means that I have two positions that will be opening up. And HR did allow me to start hiring before they leave. So you can expect to see one posted next week, maybe even this week, for an IT solutions architect. And then the other one I'm going to reclassify to an IT service owner. So the way that I'm envisioning these is the service owner is what should we be doing with GIS technology at the city? And the architect and the solutions architect will be how do we get there? So very technical leadership roles. So keep an eye, if you don't follow me on LinkedIn, follow me or find me. I'll send it out all the normal channels, share it or apply for it if you're interested. It is a government job, so it is the rigid interviewing process for those of you who aren't familiar with that. So yeah, it's very exciting.
Thank you, Jackie.
We still allow 5 days a week telework, so that's a little perk.
Yes, and you can still travel 5 days a week.
Still I was uncalled.
From anywhere in the state. I'm safer right now, but I don't think it's going away.
I'll be around.
Thanks, Jackie. That was great. Any comments or anybody else have anything they want to bring up?
We will have a GIS analyst position coming available May.
GIS analyst position in May for TxDOT. Keep your eye out for that.
Yes, and we have a big, beautiful new office.
Yeah, but I hear everybody's parking in all these weird
That's right. You'd see it 5 days.
Just don't park in the park anywhere.
Those don't park in the firewalls. I think it's allowed for now anyway. Miguel.
I just want to thank you for making your data available. We solved a problem that was previously unsolvable thanks to your data. We, like on my second hat working at the University of Texas, we have a project to make a water and salt balance for the Lower Rio Grande. And we wanted to count water and salinity and those things. But to make it even more high refined, we wanted to calculate things like evaporation and precipitation and evapotranspiration. And you cannot calculate evaporation if you do not have the surface area of the body of water. When we try with aerial imagery, okay, we can have like one capture per year. So we wanted to do the daily steps.
Right.
So what we did is we used the imagery to give us an assessment. Then we said, okay, for that day, what is the river gauge height?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. With LiDAR, we were able to measure the slopes of the river on both sides. So we made a function, okay, based on the height of the river with these slopes, we got an area.
Okay.
So we can calculate the daily area of the body of water. With that and the daily weather factors, we can calculate things like evaporation. So we have daily values for evaporation that change. That is water that goes into the atmosphere and salt that stays in the river. So we can make our water salt balance. So thank you for making that available.
Absolutely. And this is for your students, right? Or is this actually for a project?
This is a PRP, a policy research project that has been going on for 18 months. And it's about to be published and given to the clients. The clients are federal agencies, IWC, CILA, EPA, and state agencies also like TCEQ and Tamaulipas and Conagua. So believe it or not, 2 countries are working together.
Yeah.
On this.
That's unusual today, right?
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Miguel. Appreciate that. Anybody else in the room? If not, we'll switch to any folks online. Nobody?
I have a quick update that I can give. So we at TextGIO, I've been at these meetings every other meeting or so talking about our march towards an update of statewide municipal boundaries or city boundaries and how to get the most accurate data that, as cities are annexed and in the rare case de-annexed. And we had a very productive meeting with ourselves and the Texas Demographic Center, who has been very passionate about this topic in particular. And we met with the Comptroller of Public Accounts several weeks ago, and it was very favorable. They collect this data in the revenue accounting area. And currently we are pending approval to move forward from them internally, but just wanted to let everybody know that we're still marching towards that effort to eventually be able to provide that data out through the TextGIO website. And so hopefully by the next meeting in July, we'll be able to give another update about what our next steps will be for getting that set up. So just wanted to give an update on that.
Excellent. Gayla, thank you very much. Jared Ware is not online. Okay. Jared said he would give us an update on activities at the Railroad Commission. So if you could call him, that'd be great.
This makes
Yeah, this just makes a
personal cell phone.
I think the update is there's no update. How about Eric Penrod? Are you on? Or are you in the room? And if you are on, raise your hand or unmute. No? So then I'm going to go to the last person. If Austin is willing to tell us his achievement, that would be really great. Austin?
Hi, I'm Thank you, Richard. Yeah, my name's Austin Nealon. I work for Mississippi Fireworks in San Antonio, and I recently was awarded my GISP. I work with a PE there, and we manage 500 locations across Texas, and I use the LiDAR and Parcel services on a daily basis to develop new locations and have for planning and site development. So thank you very much for you guys' services.
Great, and congratulations to you. That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for being here in person too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Let's know if there's ever anything you can see in those data sets.
All right,
I'll
do.
I think, so I'm assuming nobody has anything else, right? Okay. So I know we've kind of got things pretty booked up as it relates to, our speakers for these quarterly meetings, at least probably through early next year. But if you guys have anything you want to see or anything you want to present to the group, let us know. Give us an idea of what it is you want to see and what you're looking forward to seeing, and we can see if we can get you on the list. We get a lot of these, so we are kind of back through several months, but it would be good to know what it is you're looking for. So
Courtney has her hand up. Let me give her. Courtney, you can unmute yourself.
This is Courtney Rowe.
Yes.
Where is she? Why isn't she here in person?
I'll be there. I'm the next slide. Finish your discussion.
I will here, hold on, don't jump the gun. I have to click a button first. All right, there you go.
I'm so excited to share my great news. I'm about to be a mama. And I am gonna head over to the Mappy Hour at Schultz's Garden. And so I am looking forward to seeing all of my GIS friends for the last time before I become a new mom. And our group supporting women in geography and GIS and Central Texas GIS are coming together to bring y'all a great community networking opportunity. So definitely come out, see your friends, find out what's new, what wasn't shared during this meeting. And there are leadership positions available in our GIS community. So please reach out, talk to your peers, and step up because we need you as we continue to grow in this community and strengthen each other. So really looking forward to seeing everybody today.
Thank you, Courtney. We appreciate it. We always appreciate your help on getting this stuff organized. So thank you so much. Okay, then I'm going to hit the next button. So this is where we'll be for next community meeting. We'll be here on 7/23, right after, I believe, the user conference. So we didn't want to make sure we interfered with that. So hopefully there will be some good things we'll be talking about that comes out of there. And then, of course, we'll be at the conference, and we are now, remember, we're not in October this time, we're gonna be in November. So November 7th is when the forum is. So be prepared to come with some ideas and some thoughts. This is in person. I don't believe we do these remote. We don't do this, right?
Not at the fourth quarter.
Okay, not the fourth quarter. So
In person only in the big text room. Yeah.
Okay.
And the 7th is the last day of the forum.
Right.
And that's a free day typically.
Yeah, it is a free
We
day.
expect that this year too.
Yeah, but thanks, Kayla. You don't have to register for the forum, though we hope you will, but you don't have to attend that last day on the 7th. So I'm looking forward to having you there. All past meetings are recorded and are posted on our GIO YouTube channel. So feel free to look for that. And follow us. Use the code there at Geographic Texas. Join our mailing list through the QR code or email us at gio@twdb.texas.gov. Any last minute items before we go to Schultz's? All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day and appreciate you.